Life out in the open. The space. The distance. It can just be different. This week on The Race, we're going to one of the most remote parts of the country. The challenges people here say you don't find in the big cities. This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. Life in rural America can be very different compared to big cities and towns across the country. But here in southern Utah, people are working to make sure that basic rights like voting are the same. It's the kind of place that likes being far away.
I can grow my own food, I can grow my own meat.
Sam Van Wetter works to make sure the voices of tiny Boulder aren't lost in the massive landscape of southern Utah.
I think our voting system is designed for folks who live in metropolitan areas and can, on their way home, just walk another block or two to go to a polling place and cast their ballot there.
He works with the Rural Utah Project to make sure people off the beaten path have the same options as the rest of America. Because here on election day, typically the only polling location in this county isn't a few blocks away.
You have to drive 2.5 hours to the west to the county seat where you can vote in the courthouse.
The seclusion makes voting by mail the preferred option. But as many parts of America worry if post offices can handle all the ballots, Sam fears here in the most rural corners of the country, there is larger room for error.
You have to work in advance and be proactive to get your ballot in.
Those who worry a ballot could be lost or won't arrive on time could be out of luck.
I don't trust it. I think that the votes can be screwed up big time when all get counted, so I don't like it.
The only place to turn in your ballot by hand or vote in person is the county clerk's office, that 2-hour drive away.
If you're working or maybe you're an older person that doesn't feel comfortable making that drive, it just means you don't get your ballot turned in. And that's happened just more often than I'd like to hear about.
Sam wants local leaders to provide ballot drop boxes across the county.
It would enable us to drop the ballot a day or two before the election.
We talked to the county clerk who told us drop boxes probably won't happen this fall, citing confidence in years of mail-in voting, but also saying Boulder is just too far away.
There are too many barriers to vote, and living in a rural place gives you a few more barriers.
Distance, Sam is making sure, isn't an obstacle in taking part in the most American of duties.
There are many different ways to live as an American, and we need systems that account for everyone and don't leave anyone without a vote in the dark.
When people think about healthcare, they don't always think about mental health, but Alexa Liaco found there is a major need for those types of services in small towns.
In a place for picnic lunches and warm summer days, a group gathers to create memories of a different kind.
Each day, there's a different change.
I'm 28 years old. I deal with depression, I have epilepsy, I'm schizophrenic, and I have multiple personality disorder.
Sam is one of several adults struggling with mental health disorders who come from all over a rural Maryland county to heal as a group. It's a program organized by the Mental Health Center in Hagerstown, one of few centers people can turn to in the western part of the state.
We are kind of a beacon of light for others who need help.
That help means offering a support system in places where people are geographically isolated, making their symptoms even tougher to deal with.
It's hard getting help that you need when you got mental health issues. If it wasn't for this group, I wouldn't be getting out in the community.
It's very peaceful to go fishing.
Finding connection is not only key to helping these men and women overcome their mental health symptoms, it's key to overcoming the stigma they face every day. A stigma that's often harsher in rural communities.
We want to be treated equal like everybody else and not be treated like we're stupid or we're special or anything like that. We want to be able to go out and communicate with people, make friends with people.
We help folks that have cancer or any other type of physical disorder. So why shouldn't we reach out to those who are suffering with a mental illness? It's no different.
Healthcare workers in smaller communities already deal with fewer resources, but for mental health treatment, it's even tougher. There is a shortage of mental health care workers in rural communities, fewer transportation options to get to services, and more widespread poverty. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services say these factors combined contribute to the suicide rate being nearly twice as high in the most rural counties compared to urban areas.
If you don't have those basic needs like housing, food, finances, you're not going to be able to care for your mental health. It's just not an option. You're just trying to survive and get through the next day.
Tamara Warfield and her team are doing everything they can to fight that statistic, providing transportation to services and doing extra telehealth visits during the pandemic. But there's always the fear they won't be enough.
Many folks come through who have just hit rock bottom and who have not had any services for such a long time. Their symptoms are so extreme that they can't even function.
But that's the moment that Warfield wants to step in. And for those she does see, her help is not just life-saving, it's life-starting.
I never finished school because of my mental health issues. I'm working on getting my GED so that I can become a better person for my kids, for my family. They're helping me with that. They're helping me realize that I can be a better person.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacco.
What happens when a small town's biggest job provider packs up and leaves? We're in one town where that happened, what it's doing to rebuild stronger than before. Plus, our team goes into a rural area that is thriving, the things leaders say are driving its success.